Hello dear learners, welcome to this MOOC course on skill development of the youths and their livelihood. In this module number 17, we shall discuss about a success story. Success stories are incorporated in this course to encourage our learners to explore opportunities of self-employment and entrepreneurship through skill development. Through the success stories, we intend to provide our learners newer pathways of self-reliance and sustainable livelihood. In this module, we shall discuss the success story of the Self-Employed Women's Association, commonly referred to as the Sewa. The story of the Sewa testifies how, through collective efforts, sustainable livelihood can be generated and people can be socio-economically and politically empowered. The Self-Employed Women's Association, Sewa, is a renowned organization working for empowerment and socio-economic security of underprivileged and disadvantaged women. Formed in the year 1972 in Ahmedabad, a city in Gujarat, as a trade union, Sewa today is one of the largest organizations in the country working for socio-economic development of women. So Sewa was initially born as a trade union in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. In this module, we shall discuss about the emergence of Sewa, its activities, and how it has successfully been working towards capacity building of women, providing them sustainable livelihood avenues, and also enabling them to fight poverty and vulnerability. So let us first begin by understanding the history of Sewa as a trade union. The inception of Sewa has its roots in exploitation of women. In the city, as I have already mentioned, it was born in the city of Ahmedabad. So in that city, women workers were working in the informal sector, particularly in Ahmedabad's cloth market. And they were very poorly paid. They suffered from lack of socio-economic security and so on and so forth. This group of women were basically, they were working as hand cart pullers and head loaders in the cloth market of the city. Now, being disappointed on being poorly paid and exploited, the workers approached the Textile Labour Association, which was then the largest textile workers union in the city. And in that association, they particularly approached Ms. Ila Bhatt, who was heading the women's wing of the Textile Labour Association. So after a series of deliberations with her and with the association, a public meeting was convened where the garment dealers were invited to attend, and also thousands of women workers working in the cloth market attended the meeting. And it is in that meeting, that the workers, they appealed that they need to form a association of their own. They need to form an association of the women working in the informal sector. And it is this appeal that simultaneously led to the growth of Sewa. The workers, they believed that they could ameliorate their socio-economic problems, their vulnerabilities through a collective agency, and therefore they thought that they should have an association. And henceforth, with the initiative of Ila Bhatt and Arvind Bach, who was the president of TLA, the process of forming Sewa began. Okay, and Sewa was subsequently established as an association for the cause of poverty-stricken and underprivileged women workers in the informal economy. So on 12th of April 1972, Sewa was registered as a trade union under the Trade Unions Act of 1926. Over the period of many years, The union has grown exponentially in terms of its geographical presence and membership. Now, it was born in Ahmedabad, but then it expanded beyond Ahmedabad, beyond Gujarat to other parts of the country, and its membership also grew manifold. It has spread across the country, and presently it is located in 16 states in the country, and the membership is open. Membership of Sewa is open to all self-employed women workers across the country at a very, very nominal fee. And today, as per statistics, its membership is around 15 lakhs. So dear learners, we have learned about how Sewa emerged as a trade union. Now let us try to understand the works of Sewa. How Sewa works towards women empowerment. How Sewa creates sustainable livelihood for women. Sewa is a success story today because its prime thrust is on organizing women for women empowerment. It has been working relentlessly to resolve a series of problems revolving the lives of women, revolving the working and living conditions of self-employed women by offering manifold services such as banking, housing loans, insurance, credit facilities, training, healthcare, childcare, so on and so forth. And by providing this multitude of services to women, to self-employed women, to women working in unorganized sectors, it tries to create alternative and sustainable livelihood activities. Now, how does Sewa do that? Sewa organizes women into cooperatives, self-help groups, federations, producer groups, so on and so forth at district, regional and national level to enhance their collective bargaining power and to train and enable them to create sources of livelihood for themselves. The first difficulty that comes into way is, comes in the way of self-employment or entrepreneurship is finance, credit. Where do the women get money from? Women face several difficulties in acquiring loan from formal banks due to numerous factors such as lack of required documents, incompetency to get paperwork done, so on and so forth. And this often restricts them from venturing into productive and economically remunerative activities. Now, realizing the need for easy, accessible credit facility for women to encourage them to get into productive activities or self-employment, Sewa formed its first cooperative bank named as Mahila Sewa Sahakari Bank in 1974 with a capital of rupees 71,320. This capital was raised from the members, from its members. As I said, to be a member of Sewa, a woman has to pay a very, very nominal fee. Okay, so all the members, it was then 6 to 8, 7 members, they paid individual share of rupees 10. Individual share of rupees 10 was collected from each of the members to form the capital. And with that share money, the first cooperative bank of Sewa was formed. Now, over the years, this bank has expanded tremendously, both in terms of its capital size and membership. The expansion of this bank, bank and its services to different rural areas has played a crucial role again in increasing its membership and organizing rural women agricultural laborers. So what has happened is, the bank was formed with the initiative of the members themselves. It was a limited number of members then who, with their individual shares of rupees 10 each, they formed the bank, and the spread of the bank to other areas, to other rural areas, it played a very, very crucial role in expansion and in increasing the membership of Sewa, because this women, they wanted the services of the bank and they joined Sewa, and that is how its membership also grew and people could take credit facilities. So the bank has been a very important initiative of Sewa to remove the primary difficulty of credit among women and encourage them to venture into self-employment, into entrepreneurship, and earn a sustainable living for themselves and their fellow other women in the village. Another initiative of Sewa is formation of self-help groups. It has formed self-help groups in the rural areas and which is entirely managed by rural women. Sewa provides these women training on different administrative managerial skills, accounts, finance, and so on and so forth, the skills which are necessary for successful operation of this SHGs. So, it forms the SHGs, trains the workers, women, to run the SHGs, and that is how, it has formed number of SHGs in the rural areas. And Sewa also, it connects the SHGs with the schemes of the government. There is a convergence. Different schemes of the governments are, are provided, or there is a linkage established between the SHGs and the government, so that they can gain subsidies, they can gain financial assistance, grants from government, or through government schemes they can do certain economic activities and empower themselves. So, forming SHG and linking them to government schemes, is another very important initiative of Sewa. The third and again a very, very important initiative is the Sewa cooperatives. Sewa has formed its first cooperative named the Vanalakshmi Women Tree Growers Cooperative in the year 1986 by organizing landless agricultural workers of Mehsana district of Gujarat. This group of women were mobilized to collaborate with each other and practice collective agriculture. I have been stressing this point again and again that, the main thrust of Sewa is, organizing women to form collective. It has emphasized on the collective agency of women, because the Sewa has realized that it is only through women collectives, it is only through collective agency of women that real empowerment of women is possible, and also livelihood generation is possible. You train one individual cannot do so much as a group of women can. One individual cannot alone assert voice against the system, against the discrimination, against their exploitation. It is a person single-handedly cannot handle or single-handedly cannot deal with these issues, but when they form collective, they can assert their voice. That voice becomes much bigger, that voice becomes much more assertive, and that claims for attention, that can claim attention, or that gets attention. So Sewa has been trusting on cooperatives, forming women's collectives, one for economic activity, and again for the other one is for raising their voice, or asserting their voice. With Vanalakshmi Women Tree Growers Cooperative as the beginning, Sewa has strived to create alternative livelihoods for women through cooperatives. Currently, there are around 130 cooperatives comprising artisans, land-based, livestock, trading and service, and credit cooperatives. This cooperative creation in Sewa involves three basic phases. First is training for upgradation of skill development. Upgrading the skills. They train the women for upgradation or upskilling. Second is developing an economic unit to generate income from the skills, and thirdly, forming the organizational structure to sustain the productive activities. So once they form the cooperatives, they train the women for their skill development. Secondly, they form an economic unit so that with the skills that they have, they can generate income. And thirdly, they also train, they form an occupational structure of the collective so that it can sustain the organization, or the cooperative can sustain itself. So that is done by Sewa. The cooperatives manage on their own and are economically independent, but at the same time they are supported by the larger Sewa federations by providing training on different dimensions of function of a cooperative, such as management, leadership, marketing, technical know-hows, etc. So after the cooperatives, another important initiative of Sewa is forming rural producer groups. The economic activities of Sewa are usually area specific and demand driven. They focus on utilization of local resources and a priori skills of women. Sewa's main concern is, its main idea is to utilize the local resources and a priori skills of the women for creating sustainable livelihood. It forms a group or association of women comprising of 15 to 20 women members specialized in a particular production activity in the village. Following this, Sewa tries to establish market linkage of this producers group at the regional and the national level. So it forms producers group at the local level, trains them, and then trains them to have an income generating activity using local resources and a priori skills of women. And then it also tries to establish market linkage of these groups so that they can sell their products, so that they can generate income. At the same time, Sewa also provides capacity building training to the producer groups on skill enhancement for upskilling and value addition of their product. Sewa has successfully shown how economic empowerment and social security is possible through women collectives. Currently, Sewa has around 13,000 producer groups across the country performing different economic activities such as artisans, forestry, dairy, nursery, embroidery, handicrafts, and so on. Sewa also connects, just like the SHGs, Sewa also connects the producer groups with government schemes for financial assistance, grants, and so on. It has also created village resource centers to assist village level producer groups to access market information and technical inputs. Next initiative of Sewa is social security organizations. Sewa also provides a multitude of social security services to its members, ranging from healthcare, childcare, housing, insurance, so on and so forth, at a very, very nominal fee. So, Sewa takes care of holistic development and security of women, from their livelihood to their socio-economic empowerment, political empowerment to social security. So, it looks after the holistic needs, holistic development of women. Now, coming to capacity building, how does Sewa do that? Sewa basically has two types of capacity building institutions. The first type focuses on adult education. It trains the artisans to design and market their products. So the first type is basically on training the women workers on, upgrading the designs, upskilling their products, adding value to them and make the products marketable. So that is the first type. The second type of capacity building institution of Sewa is the Sewa Academy or Sewa Managers School, which are established to train Sewa members on managerial and leadership skills. Sewa therefore is a success story today because it has focused on creating livelihood at the grassroots level by using the resources at the local level, by enabling the women to come together, form a collective, collaborate with each other and work for their own livelihood generation. Sewa has shown us that empowerment of women is possible only through collective agency of women. It is only when women becomes a collective, when a group of women forms a collective, that they can assert their voice, assert their rights on one hand, and on the other hand generate sustainable income for themselves. And therefore Sewa is a success because it was launched in Ahmedabad in Gujarat, but from there it has spread across the country to different states, and now having lakhs of members, organizing them into small producer groups. And each of these producer groups are not just created and left, but these producer groups are trained, provided with credit assistance, provided with marketing assistance, and linked up with government schemes. And that is how these producer groups are empowered, and that is how the producers group are empowered and enabled to generate to bring for themselves, or to fetch for themselves a livelihood avenue. Sewa is also a success because along with economic security of women, it has strived to provide social security to women through its different social security services. And also Sewa is a success because it could establish a bank for women, a bank which provides credit assistance that is very, very vital for any kind of economic activity. So with this, it is not just an association, macro level association working for development of women, but then no, it has come from the bottom. The developmental model is not just imposed from the top, but Sewa has shown how developmental model can be shown, can be rooted at the grassroots. How through local resources and local a priori skills of women, developmental models can be formed, and how the smaller groups at the local level can be linked to a larger federation. So Sewa today has cooperatives, SHGs, producer groups at the local level, and also it has macro level organizations like the Sewa Bharat, which looks after the functioning of these groups, which provides assistance and support to the local level groups. So it is a wide network, the local groups and the macro level groups. So the Sewa has successfully formed a network of organizations through which it has become one of the largest women's association in the country, fighting for the cause of women, fighting for their rights, providing them socio-economic security, and so on. That is all about Sewa. Why it is a success. We have discussed why it is a success, how it has emerged, and how today it has been successful in bringing women together to form a collective. For empowerment of women, bringing them together to form a collective is the first step, followed by their training, skilling, and capacity building. Therefore, understanding the inception and works of Sewa is important in the skill discourse of India, mainly because of its ability to mobilize women and form their collective, which is utmost important for raising and asserting women's voices pertaining to their needs and vulnerabilities, and secondly, for empowering the women's collectives through capacity building and skill enhancement. Sewa is therefore important and acclaimed for its ability to enable the women folk to understand and realize the importance of collective action and bargaining in improving their individual and collective needs, collective welfare, and to unite them to achieve socio-economic and political empowerment.
In a country like India, women are poorer than men amongst the poor. They are the worst victims of socio-economic decay. At the same time, they are a source of strength for their families. Their contribution to society has been immense, yet their recognition remains invisible. The common thread that binds these women is the Self-Employed Women's Association, or simply Sewa.